welcome back to the lead pile. On this video I'm going to be building a army board for a upcoming tournament that I have tomorrow. So no pressure, let's hope we can get it done in time. So the first thing that we need for this build is of course a tray. Now, like anything, you can get as fancy a tray as you could possibly ever want, but for the purposes of this, I've simply gone with a cheap supermarket tray. All I'm really looking for is to have a sturdy base and a rim so that I can carry the army around and build from here on up. Now, next, cardboard. Now this is going to be a pretty cheap build and hopefully a quick build as well. So really all I'm needing this for is to draw around the edge of the tray and be able to have a lift out base which I can then attach my basing material to and walls and whatever else we decide to do along the way, and that will be able to be removed so that we can use the tray for future builds or chips, whichever one comes first. So, on with the build. And so there we go. We've cut out the basic shape of the tray for the cardboard insert. Sadly, there are no more Sensations crisps left, so we can flip that over. And as you see there, that's going to fit in there really nicely. So, dirt cheap. All you need to do is buy a box of crisps, which is great, or even just go to the supermarket and pick up a bit of cardboard. Why people spend money on cardboard, I don't know. But there we go. So next thing to do is going to be a rough draw onto the board of what I want where, and then I'm going to be putting polyfiller down. So now I have just got some pretty simple decorators caulk, and I've popped it in this pot here, and I'm just going to mix in some of this well, like fish tank sand, really. It's really cheap. I mean, look at the amount you get in there. So that's going to basically work to give a bit of texture to the paste that we're going to make. And because it's white, I'm going to mix in some of this acrylic paint there, just a light brown shade. Stir it all up and then apply it to give us a bit of like a muddy texture. And then we'll leave that to dry and we'll come back and see how it looks. And there we go. So as you can see, I've kind of just splashed that on without much care, to be honest. It's quite satisfying, really. Don't worry about the table. I'll give it a wipe before my wife sees that. But yeah, that is now going to be left to set. It shouldn't take too long, but I want to make sure it is properly set. Now, what I'm then going to do is apply a pretty rough dry brush, maybe a few other different colours and stuff in there as well. Again, you could go to town with this at this stage. You could glue on some rocks. In fact, might do that. I've got some rocks I can glue on. But really, it's it's quick and easy and messy. And that's kind of the look that we've gone for here. You could use PVA, so you could mix up a batch of PVA with the same sort of fine sands of different sizes of grain and apply that. There's a chance that it could warp, but if you let it dry and then PVA glue the bottom of the cardboard, that should hopefully kind of level it out. Again, you can then weigh it down once it's dried as well. But like we say, we're not using this as a gaming piece, this is purely for display. So we'll leave that to dry and we'll come back. Well, hello again guys. In somewhat predictable style, I didn't actually manage to get this finished last night. The caulk mixed with the paint took quite a lot longer to dry than I had expected. It didn't help that I left it in a conservatory on a cold February night, but it's the following morning now and it has dried really well, and there's very minimal warping there, and when it's weighed down with metal miniatures, in fact you can even give it a slight bend, you can't tell. So that sits in there nicely, and what I've done is I've just given it a really light dry brush with kind of like an off-white colour, and that's picked up all of these fine textures in the caulk as well as the grit that we added to the mixture. You could, like I say, just use PVA glue and grit, but then you're not going to get all of this fine, muddy, sort of earthy texture. So that is nicely finished there. Like I say, I had wanted to build walls out of foam board. Didn't get a chance. So as there's only a few hours left, I'm going to show you a quick, even cheaper alternative. Okay, here we are. This is my completed display board / carrying tray for the tournament later today. It's a 500 point game, and I'm taking the Kingdom of Arnor. This is kind of a homemade converted project, and so what I have is Arvidui, a captain, Malbeth, and a banner, and then I've got just the 2 rangers, one with spear, 3 hobbits, one with warhorn, and then the rest is just a bog standard shield and board warrior of Arnor. They come in dirt cheap at only 8 points, and they are brilliant with the shielding special rule and all those spears. You really do have a good old classic medieval shield wall. And basically I've got Warriors of Minas Tirith here with Perry head swaps from the War of the Roses line, and I've just scalpeled off the Minas Tirith Gondor trees and painted that weird diamond sigil that you get on the flag there. And then over in the left I've got the Cardolin faction, so I think they're a bit more like druidy, Celtic-y folk down near the Shire, and they are Warriors of Numenor with head swaps from the Viking Gripping Beast, plastic Vikings, and again those Perry miniatures. And then the Rudor, they're a bit more evil looking wild men, Vikings again, and some Warriors of Rohan. So as you can see, all I've done there is inserted that cardboard and added a bit of this really cheap but colourful lichen that you can get. You can get that from Hobbycraft or the Range or anywhere. And then there's just a bog standard piece of wall and some cocktail sticks, which I've used to make a bit of a cavalry defence. So there we go guys, really easy, really straightforward, and it just makes those models pop when it comes to the painting competition at lunchtime. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again.